might be able to assist the teen program and, of course, the YWCA. I think so often, not long ago, we talked with a group of elderly persons dealing with, a program on the elderly population. And we talk about trying to make some kind of link or some kind of network between the elderly population and perhaps teenagers and even children. What are you finding in terms of what you're doing at the YWCA that might help bring about that kind of mix between older persons and teenagers or perhaps younger persons?
One thing, I had a call from a young lady who had seen or heard about the Sisterhood of the Brass Ring, and she did call me and told me she was working with a group of elderly people and that they would come together and make different arts and crafts. And she asked me would I be interested in bringing the young ladies or letting the elderly people, come to our program to show some of their arts and crafts. And I told her, of course, I was always interested in new ways that the girls could, have different activities. So I did get a call from an individual, and I would like to stress anybody in the community that has a positive message to bring, or if they would like to come and speak to the sisterhood, our doors are always open. So people, the word is getting out about the sisterhood, and people are calling, they're interested in the concept of it, and I believe they do want to help.
And let me help you. But let's reinforce that what you're saying in terms of volunteer service, because I think that there are many people who could assist in what you're trying to accomplish here, who perhaps do have the time. And of course it might be a transportation problem with them, but I think that if we could make that kind of connection and that kind of link, even in these recessionary times when it's impossible to have the dollars that we need, I think that we have the human resources that are available, and all we have to do is be able to put those resources into contact. And I think that's essentially what we're trying to do in terms of what we're talking about now. Ms. ROjo, what else do you see in terms of what you're learning? What kind of recommendation would you give to this program that you're involved in to some of the young people who are watching this morning?
Well, the recommendations I think I would give for the people that are not in the program, I think that it's a very good program. It would be nice if you would join it and group with all our other people, and they would really like for you to be here.
And of course, you're still looking forward to that trip that you're going to take to Atlanta, and you would certainly encourage all of the young people to become a part of that. We've got about 3 minutes, Ms. Morgan, before we end it for today, and that'll give you an opportunity to make some final comments in reference to some of the other things that you're doing at the Y that perhaps we've not had an opportunity to talk about. What are some of the things that you'd like to talk about in terms of summary?
Well, just to summarize the program, I would like to say what our funding sources are. The Sisterhood of the Brass Ring is currently funded by the United Way of Middle Tennessee. I have, like I said, 2 different programs. In the Preston Taylor are housing developments. The other one is in serving J.C. Napier and Tony Sucum. We're also funded by the Tennessee Department of Health and Environment Black Health Care Task Force and the Tennessee Department of Health. And we do get funding from those 2 sources as well. I would like to also state that it's also important because these fundings are only for a limited time. With the Tennessee Department of Health and Environment Black Health Care Task Force serving and funding the ones at Park Avenue and McKissick, we're into our 2nd year. Next year will be our last year, so we will be looking for additional funding. With the Department of Health serving J.C. Napier and Tony Sucum, this is our 1st year of funding, and maybe we will have another year's funding after that. It is sometimes very discouraging looking for funding, and that's why I say it's always very important with the United Way and these sources that we can continue these forces.
And you think that any kind of possible cutback, and I think that there's been some discussion in reference to some of the problems that United Way might be having, not certainly in Tennessee, but outside of Tennessee, that has had some impact upon the amount of money that will be sent to the national organization and et cetera. But I think the upshot of it all is that people are anticipating a cutback in some of the United Way funding efforts this time, and certainly we hope that that is not the case.
Yes,
but if that were to happen, would that have any kind of impact, negative impact upon your organization, and what would it mean?
If that would happen, if it was any type of cutbacks, it would be a decrease in services, not only with the YWCA, but with any other organization that receives funding. You know, its services will be decreased, and then with the people that we're serving, they are the ones that are going to suffer.
And so you got approximately 50 persons in a program, and of course if you have a cutback, financial cutback, you would have to cut that number, and we've already indicated that the number that you're serving, while it's very, very important what you're doing, and you should be given an excellent for your efforts, but still we're not really touching the number of young people that are out there who would need that service. Let us thank the two of you for coming by and giving us this information today, and let us encourage you to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Good morning and thank you.